You were never trained for a battlefield, but your bank account turned your life into one. Not the kind with tanks and trenches. Yours is made of late notices, blinking notifications, and that quiet panic when you open your banking app and think, please don't let it be that bad. It feels like the enemy is everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Rent, bills, debts, people who depend on you, and that constant fear of making one wrong move. Now imagine this. Europe, 1941. A woman walks alone through enemy territory. No army behind her. No guarantee she'll make it to sunset. On paper, she's the least likely person to be there at all. Wrong profile, wrong background, and a physical limitation that should have kept her far away from any front line. Her name is Virginia Hall. While others saw weakness, she built strategy. While the world said impossible, she quietly mapped routes. Every street she crossed, every door she knocked on, every message she passed, it all worked like a financial plan under fire. If she failed to calculate, someone paid the price. And here's where your worlds collide. Because even if you're not crossing borders with forged documents, you are moving through a hostile zone every time you get paid, and then watch your money disappear. You're trying to survive the month, trying not to drown in interest rates, trying to avoid becoming the burden you fear so much. But what if you stopped seeing yourself as the victim in this story and started acting like the strategist? In this video, you're going to walk beside Virginia. You'll see how her wartime mindset translates into your daily choices, how to create safe routes for your money, how to cut the silent leaks that are sabotaging you, how to define simple codes that decide what gets paid and what doesn't, before panic does it for you. Because courage isn't closing your eyes and hoping your account survives. Courage is having a method in the middle of fear and using your financial pain as fuel to change sides in this war. If any part of this already feels uncomfortably familiar, stay with me. Tell me, right now, what scares you most about your finances? And if you're ready to turn chaos into strategy and learn from a woman who rewrote the rules under fire, hit subscribe. The operation starts now. You start this story already tired. Tired of try to save more advice. Tired of feeling like every month is a new ambush. You weren't trained for this. No one sat you down and said, here's how to survive when your paycheck is a moving target, when your debt keeps growing like an occupying army. And that's exactly where Virginia Hall enters your life. On paper, she was wrong for war. A woman, an outsider, a prosthetic leg in a world that worshipped perfect bodies. Every door that should have opened for her didn't. They told her no. They dismissed her. They assumed she couldn't handle danger. But she did something that shifts your whole perspective. She entered the battlefield anyway. She walked into occupied territory with nothing guaranteed. No promise of rescue. No assurance she'd make it back. Just one decision. If she had limited resources, then every step had to count. Every route needed a purpose. Every move had to increase her odds of surviving the next day. And whether you realize it or not, that's you. Your occupied territory isn't a war-torn city. It's the rent that eats half your income. It's the credit card bill you push to next month. It's the panic when your phone buzzes and you think, is it another charge? Another surprise? But here's where things start to shift. Because like Virginia, you don't need to be stronger, richer, or smarter to turn this around. You need a method. She didn't run blindly. She created safe houses, secret codes, escape routes. You'll do the same, but with money, safe routes for your cash, codes that decide where it can and can't go, reserves that keep you from being cornered by emergencies. Your bank account stops being chaos and starts becoming a map. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. If this hits a nerve, stay with me. Which part of your financial life feels most like occupied territory right now? Tap the like button so this message reaches more people fighting the same quiet war. And if you're ready to learn how to build your own wartime strategy for money, subscribe and walk the rest of this path with me. You're still in the valley when you first realize something. Virginia never had enough to start with. Not enough approval, not enough tools, not enough certainty, not even a full body that worked the way it was supposed to. And yet, there she is, behind enemy lines, moving like a ghost through towns where one wrong face could end everything. No cavalry coming, no second chance. Just her, a wooden leg, a forged identity, and a plan. You watch her lay out a map on a rough wooden table. No satellites, no apps, no guarantees. just paper, ink, and consequences. She marks 3 things. 1. Safe houses, places she can run to if everything goes wrong. 2. Supply lines, the routes that bring in what she needs to keep going. 3. Red zones, areas where passing through is almost a death wish. And then it hits you. Your money has never had a map like this. Your safe houses, your savings, your emergency cushion maybe don't exist yet. Your supply lines, your income streams, might be just one fragile road, always under attack. Your red zones, those spending habits that quietly ambush your paycheck, you still walk through them every week like nothing's wrong. Virginia doesn't move because she feels brave. She moves because she has coordinates. She decides in advance where she will not go, no matter how tempted. Who she will not trust, no matter how charming. What she will protect first, even if it costs her everything else. That's strategy, not a spreadsheet, not a course, a decision to stop living on accident. When you look at your own terrain, your bank account, your inbox of bills, that knot in your stomach when you swipe your card, you're not bad with money. You're just walking through a war zone without a plan. If this is landing for you, save this, like it's so it doesn't get buried, and tell me, what would be the first red zone you'd mark on your money map? Because in the next part, you're going to start building your own safe routes, and that's where your financial war starts to turn. You're going to want to be here for that. You stand there, in the middle of her world. Cold, gray light. A narrow French street. Virginia walks slightly unevenly, her wooden leg tapping out a rhythm on the cobblestones. To anyone watching, she looks like just another woman passing by. But you know better now. Every step she takes is calculated. She knows which door has an exit in the back, which window has a loose latch, which corner can hide her if the patrol turns too quickly. She doesn't hope it'll be safe. She builds safety in advance. And that's when it clicks for you. Because in your world, it's not German patrols. It's your bank app. That same tight feeling she has when she hears boots on the street. You feel it when a new notification pops up and you don't know if it's just another fee, another charge, we tried to debit and it failed. She couldn't control the war. You can't control the economy. But both of you can control something else, preparation. Virginia doesn't just carry a radio. She has coded phrases, predefined signals, backup meeting points if everything goes wrong. Nothing is left to let's see what happens. That's what your money needs, codes and routes. A simple rule that says, if my paycheck comes in, the first X% goes directly to a safe place. No discussion, no negotiation. A spending code like, if it doesn't help me live, work, or recover, it waits. A secure route for your income, from chaos to bills, from bills to essentials, and only then to desires. Every franc Virginia gets to the resistance safely is a small triumph against the enemy. Every dollar you manage to protect from impulse, fees, and chaos is a small triumph against the life that keeps you on edge. You don't need to be fearless. She wasn't. She was methodical in her fear. And you? What's the first code you could decide today? A rule so simple it survives even when you're tired, scared, or overwhelmed. If this is starting to spark ideas, save this, hit like so you find it later, and tell me in the comments. What's one financial rule you wish you'd followed earlier? Because in the next part, you'll learn how to turn that wish into a routine. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so you don't miss when we start drawing your first real escape map for your money. You're back in that safe house, staring at the map on the table. Virginia's routes cut across it like scars. Red ink, blue ink, X's where someone was captured, circles where someone made it through. Look, the historian says, this line here, that was the most dangerous road. Fastest way from point A to point B, but almost always fatal. You trace the red line with your finger. He keeps going. This one takes longer. More turns. She had to wait, hide, change trains. But she called it her corridor of survival. Fewer checkpoints. More chances to disappear if something went wrong. You stand there, and your brain does that quiet click. Because suddenly, this doesn't look like war logistics. It looks like your checking account. Your fastest road? That's when the paycheck hits, and you let your money sprint through the month. No plan. No checkpoints. You wing it, hoping it'll all work out. Rent, food, random delivery, subscription you forgot about. One night out that turns into 3. It's fast. And by day 20, you're caught. Again. But then you see Virginia's slower route, the safe corridor, and you realize, You can build that for your money too. You start to imagine your month like occupied territory. First, a safe house. You decide that a small slice of every income goes straight into an emergency reserve. No negotiation. That's your hidden attic above the bakery. Then, coded routes. You give your money clear missions. This amount for fixed costs. This amount for food. This amount for fun. Yes, you still get fun, but it has a boundary. Anything outside the mission doesn't go. No more improvising under fire. You remember something the historian said earlier. She didn't survive because she was fearless. She survived because she was prepared to be scared and move anyway. That's your turning point. Courage, for you, isn't pretending you're not worried about money. It's opening the banking app with a plan already decided. It's saying no to one leak so you can finally say yes to your own safety. If this is starting to shift something in you, notice that. What would your corridor of survival look like next month? What's one checkpoint you could add so your money stops walking straight into ambushes? If this hits home, stick around. The next part is where you and Virginia stop just surviving and start taking the territory back. You start drawing your own map. Not on paper, but in your head. Virginia had escape routes, dead drops, safe houses. You begin to realize, in your life, that's your money. Or the lack of it. You look at your month like a hostile city. Fixed costs, rent, utilities, transport. That's enemy territory you have to cross. Optional costs, streaming, delivery, that little treat, that's never actually little. That's the alley where people quietly disappear. So you do what Virginia did. You stop walking blind. You create a route for every dollar. First, you mark your safe house, a tiny emergency fund. Maybe it's $20 this week. Maybe $50 next month. It doesn't matter. What matters is that part of your money now has a mission: protect you when everything goes wrong. Then, you set up codes. Virginia couldn't write explosives or weapons in her reports. She used simple words with hidden meaning. You do the same with your spending. Code green. Things that keep you alive or moving forward: rent, food, transport, debt payments, studies. Code yellow. Things that are nice, but not vital: eating out, subscriptions, decor, upgrades. Code red. Things that solve nothing and usually come from anxiety or impulse. Before spending, you ask one silent question: is this green, yellow, or red? And you respect the answer. You start cutting one red at a time. Not all at once. 1. You downgrade one yellow. You protect every green like Virginia protected her radio codes. Slowly, something strange happens. The month stops feeling like an ambush. Your account still isn't full, but it's no longer in chaos. You're not hoping to make it. You're deciding how to. That's strategy. Not because you earn a lot, but because now every dollar knows where it's going and why. Tell me, which color is eating most of your money right now? Green, yellow, or red? If this is making your brain see your finances differently, tap like so this message reaches more people under fire like you. And if you want to keep walking this war map with me and with Virginia's mindset, hit subscribe so you don't go back to crossing this territory alone. You don't get to choose the battlefield. Virginia didn't. She didn't wake up one day and say, "I'm ready. I feel brave. I feel prepared." She was thrown into it. Under-resourced. Underestimated. Permanently one step behind the enemy. Sound familiar? You don't wait to fix your finances when you feel ready. War never waits for your confidence. And neither do interest rates, rent increases, or surprise medical bills. So here's where your story turns. Up to now, money has felt like something that happens to you. But from this point on, it becomes something you command. Virginia never had the best equipment, the largest teams, or the safest routes. She had something better, a system that didn't depend on her mood, her fears, or her doubts. You can do the same. You set a basic code for your money. What gets a yes? What gets a not now? And what gets a hard no? You create safe houses for your cash, an emergency fund, a separate account for essentials, another for goals. You stop walking alone at night. Financially speaking, you track, you plan, you anticipate. And little by little, the panic in your chest when you open your banking app, it starts turning into something else. Not comfort, not luxury, control. That's the real victory. Not being rich overnight, but no longer being helpless. Virginia's legend wasn't built on big, cinematic moments. It was built on 1,000 small, disciplined choices made while afraid. Your legend will be built the same way: one bill handled on time, one expense cut without drama, one automatic transfer to your emergency fund, even if it's just a few dollars. If this is starting to click for you, if you can feel that shift from victim to strategist, hit that like button so I know this is landing. Now tell me in the comments, what's the first small move you're willing to make to protect your future self this week? Because in the next episode, we're going to turn this mindset into a step-by-step plan you can actually follow. So if you don't want to walk this new route alone, subscribe, and let's finish this mission together. The war never really ends for you. Not the kind with tanks and uniforms, but the one with numbers, deadlines, and that quiet fear of, what if I can't handle what's coming next? You walked beside Virginia Hall through occupied cities, coded messages, and nights where every sound could mean discovery. And somewhere along the way, you realized, this isn't just her story, it's yours. You may not be parachuting into enemy territory, but you are waking up every day in a battlefield of overdue bills, surprise expenses, guilt when you spend, and shame when you can't. But here's what Virginia proved, and what you're starting to prove to yourself. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need everyone's approval. You don't need to be ready. You need a strategy. You saw how she moved. Never randomly, never impulsively. Every route had a purpose. Every contact had a role. Every risk had a backup plan. Now you're beginning to do the same with your money. You map your terrain, what comes in, what goes out, and where the silent leaks are hiding. You create your codes, simple rules that decide what gets a yes and what gets an automatic no. You protect your routes, a growing reserve so emergencies stop being ambushes and become just incidents you're prepared for. Fear doesn't disappear. It gets organized. And when it's organized, it stops paralyzing you and starts pushing you. If any moment in this story made you stop and think, that's me, or I needed to hear that, save this video. Hit like so you can find your way back to this mindset when the next financial attack comes. Then ask yourself, honestly, what is one small, strategic move you can make today to protect tomorrow's you? Because that's how legends are built. Not in one heroic leap, but in a series of quiet, deliberate decisions. If you want more stories that turn fear into a method and chaos into a plan, subscribe and stay close. Your war isn't over yet, but now, you're no longer walking into it unarmed.